How about now? Hey, there we go. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. It's a great day to be a Colorado State Ram. My name's Kyle Neves. I'm the Associate Athletic Director for Communications. Just going to give you a quick run of show before we get started. I'll introduce our guests, led by University President Joyce McConnell, following then by Director of Athletics Joe Parker, and the next head football coach of the Colorado State Rams. Following a brief Q&A with the voice of the Rams, Brian Roth, media will pass a microphone around to you guys. Folks in the back, if you could just be mindful of the TV cameras that are there. We'll make sure that they get a good view. So with that being said, President McConnell, stage is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start out by welcoming Jay Norvell to our team. Go Rams! Thank you, Kyle, and thank you all for coming today. It is wonderful to see all of you here. I know that you're all here this afternoon because, like me, you are incredibly excited about the next chapter in CSU football. And I want to open today by thanking Athletics Director Joe Parker and the members of the search committee for their hard and fast work over the past few days. And I want to say that that work was done on top of everything else, including a Board of Governors meeting. And we ran with speed like no other. Joe, you and your team have found us an extraordinary new leader for our CSU Rams, and I am thrilled to welcome that new leader. Coach Jay Norvell to CSU Athletics, to Colorado State University, and to the CSU and Fort Collins community, or what we like to call the Ramily. Kim and Jaden couldn't be with the coach today, but I want to welcome them to the Ramily as well. And brace yourselves for this welcome to continue for a while. We've already received so many positive messages from students, faculty, staff, and alumni that we can't keep up. And we've had none that are negative. Really extraordinary. These messages are really not surprising. Here are just some of the things that our whole community is excited about when it comes to Coach Jay. He has a long coaching career, an impeccable pedigree. Just this year, the National Coalition of Minority Football Coaches named Coach Norvell the College Coach of the Year in recognition of his career, his character, and his success throughout his career. Jay, I know you will not only win games, but you will help CSU be a leader in generating a legacy of amazing, diverse coordinators and coaches, and we want to be an active part of that. And we are all here to support you and your staff in doing that. We're also excited to introduce you and your family to CSU. I can't wait to show you all of our wonderful spaces and secrets. This is an amazing place to work, learn, research, and play. And we solve cutting-edge problems and are leaders in diversity, inclusive excellence, agricultural, economic, environmental, and social sustainability. And of course, we're currently engaged in a dynamic, collaborative, courageous strategic transformation process. As we work towards bold goals on behalf of our students, faculty, staff, and larger Ram family, we know that the CSU Rams will be a thrilling and winning part of our story. And now I invite all of you to join me in welcoming CSU Athletic Director Joe Parker.
Thank you, Joyce. I want to pause a minute and just give you some insight into the leadership that President McConnell provides to this institution. She was remarkable as we moved towards this process. She exercised a high level of creativity. You know, I so appreciate your leadership and the trust that you put in the search committee, so thank you very much. You know, now it's time for me to welcome everyone in this room, everyone that's watching our live stream, and those of you that may watch it later. This moment is special for the university, and I also want to thank our search committee members. I'm going to ask each of you to stand up. So Steve Cottingham, where's Steve? And remain standing. Janelle Beavers. Albert Bemper, you got to step forward because you're standing right now. And so this was a group that jumped in the bunker, and Joyce trusted to find new leadership for our football program. I want to thank you. I also want to thank your spouses, Lisa Cottingham, who's here, Sam, who's not, and Song, who is not, and then my wife, Jen. But it's a process, and obviously you need strong partnerships, and it made a big difference for us as we progress to this moment. So thank you. So success is usually a combination of many things, but everyone talks about the intersection of opportunity and preparation. So I want to first speak about opportunity. I believe this job in college football is one of the best in the United States of America. We've made a commitment, obviously, on this campus as it relates to football with this stadium, Canvas Stadium, and its multi-purpose use. This community, not just Fort Collins, but everything that comprises northern Colorado, is important to this institution. This facility was developed really as a key or primary engagement asset for the institution, and it's incumbent on us to figure out ways to fill it each and every Saturday that we host football and other days too. So the opportunity that Coach Norvell has is extraordinary. An opportunity to lead a program that has great tradition, an opportunity that has great facility, or rather a program that has great facilities, great resources. So there's an opportunity, and great young men who are on our team right now. Preparation. I want to talk a little bit about Coach Norvell and what we experienced as we were learning who he is and how he approaches the game of football. What a special human being he is, and what a special coach he will be for us. He's been mentored by some of the very best, and he will talk about that, I'm certain, in his remarks to you. And he's been associated with some of the very best football programs in the nation, and we're so fortunate now that he will be leading ours. So there's the intersection of opportunity and preparation. He's here, he's with us, he's a Ram. Now I want to speak about your role. You're the fans of this institution. You're the people that care about CSU in every way, all of our programs, football especially, as it relates to your interest in supporting the Rams. And we need you, right? So you're the ingredient that really amplifies the flavor of this experience for everyone. You're the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak. So we need each and every one of you to fully embrace the role that you have in supporting this program, whether it be speaking positively in the community, jumping on board with season tickets, making sure that the stadium is full. We're not interested in 1 or 2 sellouts a year. We want to sell out for each and every one of our games. So that's something that only you can play a role in. You know, we can give you that opportunity. We can invite you to that experience. But each of you, including yourselves, talking to your peer groups, the people out there need to help us move this forward in each and every way, because that's going to be important to the overall success of Coach Norvell and this team. So I'm now going to invite Coach Norvell and Joyce back up here. Had the opportunity to do this a few times with coaches, and I've never felt so good, so proud as this moment in time where Coach Norvell, welcome to the Ram family. Take this off. Yeah.
Pretty amazing day. I got a couple prepared remarks that I just want to share. First of all, thank you. Thank you, Joe, for that very kind introduction. As you might expect, it's a pleasure to be here with you here in Fort Collins, Colorado, December 7th, 2021. I think that's an important date to recognize. Today I'm honored to formally accept the position of head football coach here at Colorado State University. I want to begin by thanking some individuals that helped facilitate this process. First of all, members of the search committee. That was probably one of the most enjoyable conversations I've ever had with people, and just amazing, and especially Joe, and the way he handled that search and his communication with me was amazing. I want to thank these people kind of affected me in my life. My parents, of course, Merritt and Cynthia Norvell, they've recently passed in the last couple years, but I do feel their presence here today. You know, I've been around some amazing people, like Joe said. Joe Castiglione was our athletic director at Oklahoma. Hayden Fry, my college coach. Al Davis, the managing general partner of the Oakland Raiders, was a big mentor of mine. Mike Leach and Hal Mummy have been great to me. Tom Moore, my offensive coordinator with the Colts. There's just been so many. Bob Stoops. I couldn't name them all. I also want to thank Joyce McConnell and the brief time that I've been able to spend with her. I've just gotten glimpses of her amazing leadership, and I think this whole institution is very fortunate to have her at the top. I also want to thank the search firm, Collegiate Sports Associates, and Todd Turner. I've deeply appreciated the class and professionalism that they've shown, and I sense they have a team of people that really made this whole process effortless. Amazing job that they did. My acceptance today will be brief. I do have a couple things that I want to touch on, though, that are really important. First of all, my upbringing. I'm from Wisconsin. I grew up in Madison. My parents were Merritt and Cynthia Norvell. My father played at the University of Wisconsin. I like to say I grew up in the south end zone of Camp Randall Stadium. And so I was around Big Ten football all my life. I have a younger brother, Aaron, who's 6 years younger than me. And we came up in a home with traditional values, faith, hope, love, respect, hard work, dependability were all the factors that were in our home, and I'm really fortunate of that. I attended Memorial High School in Madison, Wisconsin, very proud of that. And I was a good student. I was involved in football, basketball, and baseball, but it was football that I gravitated. In terms of my former education, I'm proud to stand here before you as a former student athlete. I am a product of the student-athlete experience and think that's very valuable for all of us in this community and around the world. In college, I played for Hayden Fry, who was a Hall of Fame coach, and had an amazing group of assistant coaches. I earned my Bachelor of Arts there, and I remained active and involved in both personal and professional development. You know, as a student athlete, I was transformed, and I have so much respect for that process and what we do to help change our culture, really, in our country. My professional experiences, I've had 10 different coaching positions in 30 years. Most recently, I was the head coach at the University of Nevada. You know, I've worked at great institutions, Oklahoma, UCLA, Texas, Nebraska, Arizona State, and I think those stops have prepared me well for this day. You know, I want to talk about three things that are so important to me in our program. And I mentioned this to the team earlier. And the best teams that I've been a part of, we haven't had a lot of rules, but the rules that we had, we lived by them, and we never cheated them. And our first rule that we live by is respect. We expect all the players to have respect for one another, treat each other the way they want to be treated. Coaches, equipment people, strength coaches, everybody in the program, we expect to be gentlemen. And I told the players today, I want gentlemen. Manners matter. And I think it comes from my mother's upbringing. But what's happened to manners in our society? I don't understand it. And it's amazing when people treat each other with respect, how few problems you have. And so that's so important to us. And so that's number one. The second one is to learn to live with 100% accountability. I've been around so many successful people, and the most successful people understand that it's the choices that they make that will lead to their success or failure. And so we want our players to understand that. And I start every meeting 5 minutes early. And I want our kids sitting there with a pad and pen ready to go. And there's an old saying that says, if you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. And I tell our kids all the time, the college campus is the most amazing place you can ever go to because there's opportunity everywhere. And all you got to do is take care of it and take advantage of it. And so we want our kids alert and ready for their opportunity. It's so important. The third thing is good old-fashioned hustle. We all know what it looks like. And we want our kids to hustle in the classroom. We want our kids to hustle on the practice field. We want our kids to hustle in the community. And, there's another old saying, a train that's on the right tracks will still get run over if it doesn't do anything. And so you have to put some work into your plans. So those three things, respect, accountability, and hustle, are what we build our culture over. And it's served us very well. And I told Joyce and Joe, I read a great book recently called The Culture Code, and the very first line in that book was that the word culture comes from a Latin word cultus, and it means to care. And so the most important thing in your environment is to have an environment where the people in that environment know you care about them. It's a safe environment. And once they understand that, boy, can they really start to gravitate and listen to the things that you're trying to say. But that has to be established first, that you do care. And, we'll assemble a staff of coaches that have spent their whole careers helping young people. It's so important. What's our team going to look like? What's our team going to look like? I've been affected by some of the great football people, and I think of myself as a football man. And I know we're in Broncos country, I get that, but I worked for Al Davis, and he was unapologetic about building his program into the very best, and he would go to no lengths to make sure his team was the best. But one of the things that I learned from him was obviously to get the very best people, and it really helped form my philosophy about building a team. And so number one is the vertical passing game. I'm an offensive coach. I just believe you got to have an attack mentality to get the defense to respect you. And the only thing they'll really respect is if you try to run by them. And so it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to have the players that can do it, okay? But you got to practice it, and you really have to make it part of your philosophy. And so we love big receivers, tall guys that can run. We love strong-arm quarterbacks. And I really believe this, that, and I've been in football a long time. There's a lot of people in football that don't know what a quarterback is or what it looks like or what you should look for in a quarterback. There's a lot of people making bad decisions about quarterbacks, and so I appreciate that. But what we look for in a quarterback is, number one, intelligence. Number two is accuracy. And I just think it's the worst feeling in the world when you're a fan and you go to a stadium and you know your quarterback can't throw. What's the worst feeling in the world? It's terrible. Okay, so we'll work hard not to have that happen here, okay? But the third thing is passion for that quarterback. And so that's important. So the vertical passing game is number one. Number two is we love big players. We want to get big. We love big linemen. We love big receivers. We like our receivers to look like a basketball team. Guys that are walking around with great height and range, and if we spread them out, match them up, it's going to be very difficult for defense to match up with us. So we'll work real hard on that. We're doing that as we speak. The third is championship defense. And it's very difficult to win in any team sport if you can't stop them from scoring. Okay, so we want a defense that's going to rush the passer. The passer must get hit. The quarterback's got to get hit. And we want to play bump and run defense. We want to take the air out of the coverage. I believe that there's not many good quarterbacks in college football. And so why would you give them any room to throw? Play tight coverage, take the air out of the defense, and make them earn every catch. So we plan on having a good quarterback that can throw and complete passes, so we want to make it real difficult on the ones that don't. And so that's number three. Number four is a fanatical group of special teams players. And on our team, everybody will play special teams. On our team, all starters will play special teams. We'll have great kickers, punters, and specialists that are ready to perform when the game's on the line. I just believe that's really an important formula of winning football. And then lastly, but most importantly, a group of special men that have grit. And that's the most important thing. And football's tough. Football's hard. I told the players, when you lose, it's hard. And if you lose twice, it's even harder. And, I'm an old soul. I told President McConnell, I'm on the cutting edge of innovation. We use computers and virtual reality, all this stuff to help us learn how to throw the ball better, but I'm old school traditionalist. And, Bear Bryant said, you never know how a horse will plow till you hook him to a heavy load. And I told the players today, we're going to hook you to the heavy load. And we're going to find out what you can pull. Because when you lose and you get in the fourth quarter in a tough game, it's that grit, it's that resilience, it's that fortitude that you got to get back up and fight. And so that's what we're going to develop. That's what we want to be known for. We want to be known for a team with grit. We want to be known for a team that when it gets knocked down, it gets back up, and it gets back up again, and gets back up one more time, and never, ever, ever gives up. That's what we want to be known for. Lastly, my closing comments. My wife Kim is not here today, and my son Jaden, but Kim's my best friend. She's my soulmate. She's the most important person in my life. And we are very proud to make your home our home. And today's a great day to be a Ram. And I'm sorry when I talk about things that are important and I get like this. It's been an emotional few days, but I'm humbled by the confidence that President McConnell and Joe have in me. And I'm going to say one last comment before I finish, and I really believe this. I talk to the players all the time about focus. I'm a student of people's body language and their energy. And I really believe that energy is the most important thing about getting something done. I really do. And I just look at people, I watch their body language, and I am convinced that your energy is where your focus is. And I tell our players that all the time. When I see a kid slouching on the field, you know, he's not ready to get anything done. When I see a guy looking at me and he's dialed in, I can feel his energy. But I want to say this to Ram Nation. When you have one person that's focused and has energy, it's a powerful thing. But when you get a whole group of people that are focused and have energy in that stadium, wow. 2 + 2 = 10 then. And that's what we're going to do. I can't wait to go to work. Thank you very much. Go Rams.
All right, thank you to Coach Norvell. We'll have Joe Parker come on back up to the stage. Well, it's just an awesome crowd to see everybody here on this afternoon. And look, you can feel that energy in this room. I think you can feel that energy across Ram Nation. You look across social media, look at our friends in the media, both on a local and national level. And heck, even personally, my cell phone's been blowing up the last few days. Everybody is excited about Jay Norvell coming here to Colorado State. I'll introduce myself, Brian Roth, the voice of the Rams. We're going to have a couple of questions for Joe and Coach Norvell, and then we're going to open it up to the media that have come and are in attendance. And Joe, let's start with you. I mean, this has kind of been a whirlwind. And here we are on Thursday of last week, and you announced there's a change of leadership in the football program. 5 days later, we're sitting here at the Iris and Michael Smith Alumni Center. Take us through what the last 5 days were like.
Well, they've been busy days, I'll tell you that. I mean, it's, but no, Brian, I mean, it was, you know, I kind of alluded to it a little bit in my, my remarks. I mean, takes great leadership, kind of outlined a plan to Joyce. She accepted it immediately. We put our team together. I think the first time we got together was Friday afternoon, if I'm correct. Is that right, Janelle? And we went to work. We engaged CSA, which Coach had mentioned, and they do a great job, really kind of helping you stay focused. And I think we started our first interviews on Saturday, and we wrapped up on Sunday, and recognized early on in the process that we wanted to zero in, focus in on Jay. I think everyone can see why. That's where you should applaud right now. And it was clear that this was an opportunity that he really wanted. And so when you get that two sides, so we had a strong desire to bring him here, and he had a strong desire to be here, and it moved pretty quickly. So proud of the process, and certainly proud that we have Coach Norvell here.
Jay, I know Colorado State was on your mind. It's the last team that you coached against. But what was your reaction when Joe Parker and Joyce McConnell reached out to you and said, "Hey, we are interested in having you to be our head football coach"?
Well, I was very interested to visit with them and find out what their vision is for this program. And I've always had an amazing respect for Colorado State. It's always been a strong football school with great coaches and players, and just the facilities. It's amazing. The stadium, obviously we played here, and but I didn't get a tour, and I didn't get to see everything that this stadium has to offer, and the meeting rooms, and the weight room, and the training room. It's incredible. They did an amazing job putting this together, and I told Joe, I played in the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, the brand new Raiders Stadium. We've played in the Cowboys Stadium. Professional and college of Oklahoma, Texas, and those are all great places, but this stadium does not have to take a backseat to anybody in football, and you should be very proud of that.
Well, it's pretty clear that Jay likes this stadium. He has played here twice, and his offenses have put up 94 points in this building. So
Should play every game.
that's right. You're going to bring the air raid offense to Colorado State. You talked a little bit about what you like in a quarterback, how you like the vertical passing game, but kind of describe a little bit more for Ram fans out there what the air raid offense is.
Well, I've been in football a long time and really spent most of my years in the West Coast offense, and the air raid was developed, from Hal Mumme and Mike Leach, and it came from BYU. It came from the West Coast, so a lot of the principles were similar to what I kind of was raised on. But I just love the simplicity of it, the ability to practice. It's really built on the old John Wooden philosophy of we don't really care what the opponent does. We just want to do what we do better than everybody else. And so it's very simple. But what we're a little bit different in that we run out of the pistol. I got a chance to spend some time around a guy named Chris All, who was at Nevada, who invented the pistol. And but we run out of the pistol, we run the ball downhill, we are physical, and we do want to be a downhill running team. The other thing that we do is a little differently is we throw down the field. We throw deep. We also play action, which is quite different. And so, we would like to be more balanced and run the football. But we want to get the ball to all 5 skill players. I think that's what makes us unique, is that every player will touch the football, and not equally, but pretty close,
Jay, you've been in coaching a long time, over 3 decades, spent 6 years in the NFL. You talked about some of the big-time programs you've been around, but waited a long time to become a head coach. You became a head coach 5 years ago at the University of Nevada. I'm curious, how different does it feel with 5 years of coaching under your belt, and how much more prepared maybe do you feel here today than you did 5 years ago?
It's light years. It's funny, I told my wife gave me a ride to the airport this morning. I said, this is totally different. No, you just know, before you become a head coach, you wonder if all the thoughts and ideas that you really have will work. And until you sit, you guys are leaders, until you sit in the chair and you work through those issues, you're really not sure. And so I just think that 5 years of trial and error and really centering on the things that are most important will allow us to get to the answers very quickly. And, we expect to win. I mean, I told the team today, we expect to win. And this team is not far away. They played a lot of close games. But it's your reaction to when things go bad that really defines who you are. And that's what our kids got to understand, that, getting knocked down is part of the journey. It's part of the adversity that you go through in this sport. And, I say it to my guys all the time. Sometimes you get the bull, sometimes you get the horns. And so you got to be willing to go through that and to get to the prize. And so we'll talk a lot about that. Our off-season training is designed to train leaders and to train, and it's adversity training. It's what do I do when I get in these situations? Our strength coaches will press these guys to do things they never thought they could do. We do something that's kind of unique. We work out on Saturday mornings, and to keep people in bed on Friday nights, and in the off season. And I think that's been very good for us. But we'll do a different challenge for the 8 weeks of winter training, and all those challenges are designed to test the mentality of our players and to show them that they can do things they never thought they could do.
Joe, one more thought for you from me. Obviously, a lot of things impressed you about Coach Norvell, and look at what he's done at the University of Nevada, but talk a little bit about some of the things that really impressed you from him, and talk about his recruiting ties as well. I mean, Coach has deep recruiting ties in the state of Texas, and then obviously California, and deep recruiting ties to in particular, Southern California.
Yeah. there were so many things that stood out about Jay that attracted me to him as a leader. Probably first and foremost is just the intellect and enthusiasm that he has for the game of football. Another big thing for me always is a demonstration of humility, and Jay is certainly that. I mean, he recognizes the importance that he has when he's interfacing with young people, but there's always a humble demeanor about him. He's a great communicator. I mean, that came through, you know, we were doing all this virtually, and, you know, that's always seems to be a challenge, I think, but boy, you could really tell that he has a passion for communicating and very succinct in the way that he expresses his thoughts and ideas, and I thought that was something that would really carry with the team. You know, Jay's been at a lot of the great places that play college football, and, you know, that's given him access to, you know, really all kinds of markets and opportunities, but certainly the last 5 years that he spent in our own league was very attractive to us. You know, he knows the Mountain West region and understands where to find great players, and so that made the decision, again, you know, a really easy one for us.
All right, Jay, my final thought for you, making history here today, the first African-American coach in program history at Colorado State. What goes through your mind when I say that?
Just very, very humbled. You know, it's kind of a family tradition, really. My father was a great man in the industry of athletic administration. My father was the first African-American athletic director at Michigan State and was there when Saban was there and Tom Izzo. And
I think you hired those guys, didn't you?
yeah. And my dad really had a heart for mentoring, and he mentored a lot of the top African-American coaches that are coaching today: James Franklin, David Shaw, Mike Loxley, you know, Mel Tucker, all those guys my dad kind of mentored, and so I have a real heart for that as well. You know, I want to see more people get opportunities, young people, more diverse candidates, more diverse head coaches, and I really think that's important, and I want to be a positive influence on that happening. But you know, I'm very, very excited about that, and you know, I think this is also a big step.
Well, Joe, I want to say congratulations. Great work to you and your staff. And to head coach Jay Norvell, welcome to Ram Nation. We'll now open it up. Questions from the media.
Hi, Coach. Why is this not a parallel move? What makes this better than a parallel move, and why?
Why is it not?
Why is this not a parallel move? What makes this better than a parallel move?
What makes this better is the resources of the football program. You know, and as a coach, you know, I grew up in the Big Ten. I grew up watching Big Ten football. Football is really important when you grow up in a town like Madison, Wisconsin. It has a weight in the community. Camp Randall's like a cathedral. It's been for decades. You know, I was in my father's basement cleaning out all his old boxes, and you see everybody showing up on Saturday, and they're in the stadium. And this place supports football. This place is committed to football, and this place wants to have a winning championship program. And I looked at this place, you know, very similar to Cincinnati and the top group of 5 programs in the country. I think that's the type of support we have here, and we have very high goals because of that. And so I'm excited about that. I've embraced that. You know, I've coached at some of the most intense places in all of football. I've coached at Oklahoma. I've coached at Texas. I've coached at Nebraska, UCLA, and so high expectations is kind of comes with the territory. And so, but I'm excited. I'm really excited about the opportunity we have here. You know, we had, you know, we were talking about personnel and recruiting. You know, the University of Nevada, our first class is just graduating, but we have 3 players that are invited to the Senior Bowl. Romeo Dubs is a kid from Jefferson High School in east of Los Angeles. He's a wing T quarterback and became one of the best receivers in this league. He's been invited to the Senior Bowl. Cole Turner, 6'6" tight end. He's been invited to the Senior Bowl. And then Carson's going to declare, and he's going to our quarterback, and he'll be invited. So that'll be 3 from the same school. We only had 7 in our school history, and we have 3 in 1 year. Kids we recruited. We're going to have much easier time bringing those types of players here, okay, when we show them these facilities and the support that this program has. So I think we're going to be turning people away at this point. So I'm really excited about that. I think we will really help our recruiting, and we can't wait. We're on the road now. We're talking to guys. You know, as I've been sitting here, my phone's buzzing off in my back pocket, and recruits are calling right now. So really excited about that. So it's not a parallel move in that regard, and to me, it's a major upgrade of support.
Hey, Jay, Kyle Fredrickson with the Denver Post here. Two-part question for you. Do you plan to be the play caller for the offense, and how have you grown in that role? And also, with recruiting and geography, what are going to be some of your first goals in attacking that?
Yeah, we're putting the staff together right now. We're going to bring several of our offensive coaches. I'm not going to name a coordinator, and I've been calling it for the last 3 years, and I've called it at Texas and UCLA and different schools that I've been at. So I will function as that play caller. What was the second part?
Just with recruiting and geography, what are your
Yeah.
first priorities?
I think we already recruit the footprint that will fit here at Colorado State, and I'm going to also look at some history. I think it's important to look at the history and see where, you know, one of the things I did at Nevada is I looked at every player that was went into the National Football League from the school, and we dropped anchor in those places, and we'll do the same thing here at Colorado State. But you know, we primarily recruit the state of California, Northern California, the Central region, and Southern California. We recruit deeply. You know, and I just want to say this. I coached at UCLA. I've been at different places, Arizona State. People don't recruit Los Angeles the right way. Most people are from out of town, and they get
Don't
stuck
give
on
them the secret.
I'm not going to give them the secret, but we know we have people from these places that live there, and I appreciate that, Joe. We'll be deeply immersed there. The other places we recruit are we recruit Colorado. We've been recruiting Colorado since our time at Nevada, Utah, Washington, Oregon. We'll also recruit Arizona. We have really good players from Arizona and the state of Texas. We got several coaches that are from the state of Texas. I recruited there when I was at Oklahoma and Texas. We know the state. We know the coaches. And so that'll be big for us as well. And we'll go back east when we have connections. We'll go south when we have connections. We've had good players from Florida and Georgia and Alabama. So we'll go anywhere where there's players and we have a connection. But primarily it'll be West Coast footprint.
Kevin Lytle, Colorado. And question for you, Joe. Obviously, it's rare to have a move within a conference. When did you realize this could be possible? And then just a second, how many candidates did you end up interviewing?
Yeah, fairly early on, it seemed like there was developing mutual interest, so that made it pretty easy to start zeroing in. And we wanted to get a comprehensive look to really understand who would have thoughts about being a part of this program. We wanted to felt we owed that to ourselves, but as I said, we got really closely focused on Jay and feel certainly really good about the outcome. As far as number of candidates, I probably won't, that's part of the confidentiality of the search. Yeah.
Jay, Kelly Lyle with the Fort Collins, Colorado. You talked about the stadium and the importance. Would you have looked at this job without the stadium being here if they were still playing games at Hughes?
It would have depend on the facilities and the support, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Hey, Jay, Eddie Hers, Loveland Reporter Herald.
you obviously published a book about wide receivers, have coached a lot of great players at that position. I'm curious, what are your keys to developing the wide receiver groups?
I appreciate the plug. Yeah, I did. I did. I don't know. It was about 2010, and I got a call from a company called Human Kinetics, which is the largest athletic journal company in the world. They produce books on everything from volleyball to soccer to water polo to football, and they wanted somebody to write a book about wide receiver play, and they approached me because I had coached great players in college and in the NFL. I had Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, and Marvin went to the Hall of Fame, and then I had a bunch of great kids at Oklahoma: Sterling Shepard, Kenny Stills, Ryan Broyles, all Americans, and so their receivers are very diverse. There's a lot of different kinds of great receivers. There's big receivers, there's little receivers, there's fast receivers, there's possession receivers, and they all have value. And so, most receivers are very intelligent, very good ones. They have great ball skills, they have great agility and body control, and so it's just it's identifying those qualities and then understanding how you're going to use it. And so as a college coach and professional coach as well, our job is to identify talent. Number one is to identify and recruit and bring the best talent here to Colorado State. And then you have to develop the talent. And so when you get a great player, if he runs fast and he's got length and he can run deep, well, then it's your job as a coach to do that and allow that kid to do what he does well. And so many coaches fail in that regard. They don't put their players in position to use their skills. And I think professional football really teaches you the importance of that. I think my experience of being in pro ball, when I call a play, I know where people are. And I know there's a reason and a matchup to where those people fit in. And we teach our quarterbacks to understand that too. If I'm running 4 verticals and it's man coverage, well, who's better, that guy or that guy? So you have to understand all that, and it has to be part of your process and how you develop players and how you develop an offense and how you develop a defense. And so many people call plays and are play callers with no understanding of their own personnel, and that's not the way to do it. In the National Football League, you're paying this guy $12 million, you're paying this guy, $150,000. Well, that guy's probably getting paid because he's a playmaker. You better give him an opportunity to do that. So, I was with the Raiders, and we had Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, Jerry Porter, Charlie Garner. All those guys deserve to get the football. I'm sorry, Bronco fans, but I mean, they all deserve to get the football, and you had to find ways, and you had to game plan ways, and you had to call plays to get them the ball. And I think that's what professional football taught me.
Coach Terry Fry from Mile High Sports. Attrition is inevitable. At Nevada, in that first year, you turned over your roster considerably, almost 2/3. Have you made it clear to these guys here that it's your way or the highway? And is that what happened in Nevada? Was it the highway?
No. I did not tell them that. Today I did tell them what our expectations were, though. And I think that's important, to clarify expectations. And I think you have to stand for something or you fall for anything, right? So we have standards that we expect. And I just mentioned them to you, be respectful, you learn to live accountably, and work and hustle. And yeah, we started off with those same principles at Nevada, and we had some people that didn't live up to those. We had some people that weren't respectful. We had some people that couldn't get along with people, there's an old saying, I don't know if I should say it, I probably shouldn't, but I'd rather have 1,000 enemies outside the tent than one inside. And that's football. You have to be committed, you have to be united, you have to be on the same page, and you either are or you aren't. And so, it's more about expectations, and we'll be very clear about that with this group of guys, and we started today. And everybody will have those expectations, and we'll begin making sure they live up to them.
Jay Sean Keeler at the Denver Post. Welcome. You said the C word, which I didn't know I was going to hear, and Cincinnati. This is a place that has paid a big-time investment, big-time infrastructure. Is it ready for that kind of big-time barn? How far away is it to get there that every group of five wants to be?
That's a fair question. I think number one, it all starts with recruiting, and you have to get quality players. You know, Cincinnati's not winning by accident. They're winning because they have good players, and so that's number one. And I'm so excited because I want to be in a place where you can recruit. I understand. I've been on teams with great players. Players win games. You know, I think Belichick's right. I think coaches just screw it up. And I mean, you have to recruit good players. You have to train them what to do, and then you got to turn them loose on Saturday. And we do that. You know, we probably, you know, I worked for one of the great minds in football, Tom Moore, who was the coordinator with the Indianapolis Colts. And you know, Tom would train Peyton and give Peyton the flexibility to change plays, to adjust routes, to get, he would give them the answers to the test. And I think that's the way you play this game. I think it's the best way to play this game. And so we spent a lot of time training our guys that way. But to answer your question, I think we have the potential. And I told the kids the goal. I mean, and I'm not afraid to say it. You know, our goal, we want to play on New Year's Day. We do. We want to be in the big bowl game. And or why get up every morning? You know, I don't want to get up to be average. I'll go do something else if I want to do that. If I'm going to coach this game, we're going to coach it to win. We're going to coach it to be the very best, period. And I told the kids today, and President McConnell, Joyce and I were talking about it, you know, one of my favorite words is urgency. I said it to our kids the other day. You have to have a sense of urgency every day and a sense of purpose to accomplish something special. And that's uncommon. It's uncommon to do it consistently. You know, many kids have the energy and the focus to do it once or twice or for a couple weeks, but to sustain it and do it for 3 months is unique. You know, and we told our kids this year, I mean, 7%, I believe it's 7%, you guys remember, Jordan? 7% of the teams in America become champions. And so what does that mean? That means you have to practice at a 93 percentile, probably 94 to give yourself some error every day for 3 months. You have to have A practices every day for 3 months. That's hard to do. And that's why people don't do it very often. You know, and so, yeah, Cincinnati's a unique group. They're uncommon, but they also give you a bar and a standard to work towards, and I think that's something that we want to work hard to accomplish, and it's certainly a goal of ours. We want a team that wins. We want a team that goes to bowl games every year. We want a team that competes for championships every year. And I told the team we expect to do it next year. We expect to compete and win next year.
Speaking of urgency, you have a signing day coming up in about a week. Just what's your kind of priority list of evaluating current roster, recruiting, transfer, all that?
All of the above. Yeah, all of the above. And we have some knowledge of the roster already from playing against this group, and we need to take a deeper dive, obviously, in really understanding the players on the team, the strengths and weaknesses of the team. Certainly, for what we want to do, we need receivers, and so we can never have too many. And we want to put 5 great ones on the field along with a running back. And so we'll take a real deep dive into that. We're currently talking to players. We've been recruiting players already. We're evaluating the current commitments. it's just the nature of college football. It's changed so much. This time of year is really, there's a lot of changes. And so we have to be able to manage that, look at that. The transfer portal really changes things. And you have to be careful with the transfer portal. It's not a end-all, be-all. Most of the transfer portal players don't work out. And so you have to know the kids. You got to understand the background. You have to have history with them. And so, but we'll look at every avenue to improve this team. High school players, transfer players, junior college players, and then the portal as well. And so, we're in the, we have a few days. We have one more weekend. We plan on having kids on campus this weekend, getting to know them and having them get to know us. And then obviously we'll work over the break and in January to finalize this class. And there's still time. Sometimes it's important to take your time. And I think that's what experience has taught us. There will still be a lot of players available after this early signing period. And with the transfer portal, a lot of good high school players get overlooked. And so we want to make sure that we do a great job of evaluating them.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for the Q&A. How about one more round of applause for the 24th head coach at Colorado State, Jay Norvell.
Yes, sir.